2020. It is 4:05, and we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'll start off with roll call. Identify if you are present either by video or in the chambers. Mark Nelson.
Here.
Steve Corey. Here. Robert Wiley. Robert, you're muted right now, but perfect. Sean,
can you hear me now?
Yes, Robert.
Here.
Meg Larson.
Here.
Scott Walters. Isabel Cow.
Here.
Ex officio members, Councilwoman Liz Strader.
Here.
And Rochelle Klein.
Here.
Quorum being present, we'll move on with the activities of the meeting. First is approval of the agenda. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at it. Are there comments or motions in relationship to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the agenda as written. This is Megan Larson.
And I would second that. Mark Nelson.
It's been moved and seconded that the agenda be approved as written. Are there further comments? Sensing that the commission is ready for a vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda as written signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? The motion passes. We will move on to the minutes from the June 24th meeting. Tom, I would direct you. I don't have a record of who attended. So if you could go ahead and amend the minutes to include a record of attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll have that updated and sent out this afternoon.
Are there further comments or corrections to the minutes? Are there comments or motions in relationship to the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the minutes of the June 24th meeting as written with the addition of the attendance.
It's been moved that the minutes be approved with the addition of the attendance record. Is there a second?
Second that, Mr. Chair.
Second the.
Thank you, Sean. It's been moved and seconded that the minutes be approved with the amendment of including the attendance record. Are there further comments? Sensing the commission is ready for a vote, all those in favor of approving the minutes as amended signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The motion passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda is community acknowledgements. I don't have anything to include at this moment on that area. So we'll move on to program reports, which we don't have anything for this meeting. Moving on to 7 for action items. First, A, old business, and there is no old business being covered at this point, which is a quick way to get to B, which is the major activity for us this today, and that is the FY 2021 rate presentation. Before we start on this, make sure that I am giving direction to the commissioners as appropriate. We have the information associated with the residential rate increase, which is what we're going to talk about today. But the information in relationship to industry rate recommendations is not included. So we're not looking for a action today, but it's a great opportunity to go through the details of the residential portion of it and ask detailed questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, you have the residential and commercial rate schedule in front of you today. The industrial rate schedule is coming. We would still want to make a review and recommendation of this rate schedule today with the knowledge that you would be getting the amended industrial rate schedule when it is completed.
Okay, I stand corrected. And with that, do we turn it over to Rodney to go ahead and present? Rodney, the floor is yours.
Are you muted? You're not muted. Okay. Yes, good afternoon, Chairman Corey and commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to present our rate change for you for fiscal year 2021. It's a complicated year with a lot of changes going on, and we've accommodated the requests of staff in presentation and in addition of a credit in here. So with that, I'll just start walking us through. So for the fiscal year 2020, our rates for residential had 2-year increments from 1978 in the full-size 95-gallon cart, 1778 for a full 65-gallon cart, and then 1578 for a 35-gallon cart. In communication with staff, it was determined that we didn't need to manipulate the rates to keep a $2 increment between them. We would just apply the CPI and allow the rates to fall where they are. There was a modification to the rate that we use. Historically, there was a rate that's no longer published, Pacific Northwest. That rate has not been, or that CPI indice has not been available for many years, and we were substituting a rate. In the last year, we came to an agreement with Meridian and the city of Meridian, and we moved to a garbage trash index, which aligns with our industry, and we maintained the 90% of this change in CPI. So it's still not 100%. Like the old rate, it's 90% of CPI. The CPI change for garbage trash, 90% of that change is 2.64%. The full CPI change was 2.93%. And there's been no change to sales tax percent, so there's no change there. The next big thing on the rate change is a movement, the Ada County's movement in disposal from a per yard basis to a tonnage basis disposal rate. That also is to disposal for Meridian because everything goes through the Meridian transfer station, and the Meridian transfer station rate was increased from $22 a ton to $29 a ton. All in with franchise fees, that rate becomes $7.40 per ton increase. So what we've done is we've taken those rate per ton and calculated in to a disposal amount. So we have an increase in disposal for each of the 3 different types of carts, and that increase is 28 cents.
Mr. Chair, Rodney is muted and I can't hear him.
Yeah, Rodney, your microphone is muted. Rodney, your microphone is muted.
Rodney, your microphone is muted.
Can the meeting host try the chat feature and see if you can get them that way? Mr. Chair, my guess is that he has his presentation up on his screen rather than the thumbnails of the meeting.
Can somebody text him maybe?
I was thinking the same thing. Somebody have his phone number or,
I don't have it.
or his neighbors.
Rochelle, can you call him?
I'm muted so I don't have the feedback, so I can hear his presentation. So I'm like thinking it's all normal. So, okay, so I'm your actual,
Okay, I've got it now.
so I
Can
can
you,
hear it, so I didn't know he was muted. Okay, I'm muted now.
all right, can you hear me now?
Okay, thanks, Tom. Okay, yep, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you for that. I apologize. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure how far back I need to go.
So I'm trying to start.
Okay,
I believe where you were.
Michelle says start over. So from the 2020 rates, let's just say it's an increase. Let's just go with 95 gallon cart increase is $1.08, and it's comprised of 36 cents in CPI, which is a 2.3% increase overall. The disposal increase is 76 cents, which is a 3.8% increase overall. The volumetric excise tax credit, which I will speak to, I hadn't spoke to that previously, which is a 0.7% decrease for a total increase of 5.4% increase in the 95 gallon rate on a residential service. Republic Services sometimes from year to year receives a credit for CNG natural gas utilized in our trucks, and Republic Services likes to share that credit with our municipal partners. The credit associated with the Meridian City business is $61,067 for the years 2018 and 2019. That was retroactively awarded at December 2019. And staff has asked that we roll that into these rates. For the 95 gallon cart, that's a 14-cent reduction in the rate. For 65 gallon cart, it's a 13-cent reduction. And for 32 gallon cart, it's an 11-cent reduction. So those are the rate changes. It's 5.4% overall. Again, the landfill increase is 3.8%, and the CPI increase is a net 2.3% on a 90% change of 2.64%. So while it is a large piece, the bigger part of it results from the disposal increase. I guess I'll take questions there and see what was missed when I was muted.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
if I could just ask a quick question. So is the,
You're muted.
yeah, sorry about that. Is the 5.4%,
I believe you're muted.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I was hearing you before.
Sorry, I don't know what was going on. Is the 5.4% net of this natural gas credit? Or is that a
Did you
gross
mute your
number?
speaker? I'll turn mine back on.
I turned my speaker on, but we can't hear you, Councilwoman Strader.
I'm not sure why. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I can hear.
Oh,
Back to you, Chancellor.
Okay.
okay. That's okay. I can
There
email.
we go.
I can
No,
email my
We
question.
can hear you now.
Oh.
We got it.
Okay. Sorry, I was just asking if that 5.4% number was net of the natural gas credit.
Yes, that's correct.
Ronnie, I think you're
What?
on your computer. You're muted down on the lower right.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not muted.
We shouldn't be in the same room.
Rodney, I think you should go ahead and continue with your presentation, and we'll, there may be more questions as
Okay.
we
All
get
right.
further on.
Okay, well, I think I have pretty well covered it as far as pieces go. Are you?
I'm sorry, Rodney. Rochelle, if you and Rodney are in the same room, one of you needs to mute because the sound is really feedbacky.
I'm gonna go that way.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Michelle went to another room. We'll be fine. Okay, so I think I hit all the pieces, but I'm not sure everything was covered because I was muted. Can you hear me now? Okay. All right, so do we want to talk about commercial? Commercial varies by service, so I think most of the concern is over residential. The disposal column was split for all services from residential down through commercial. The commercial business is more complicated because the yards include services that are done multiple times per week in multiple size containers, and all those calculations were those are made to stay flat. So the only increases for commercial are again disposal and then the CPI. There's no increase to the transfer station amount, which is considered part of the disposal rate. And it's, yeah, I'm not sure what else to go into on commercial. I think it's pretty, it works the same way as residential, but there are no credits for volumetric excise tax credit. There were no changes there for recycling processing fee because that piece is closer than the residential. And there's no household hazardous waste either. So it's more straightforward. So I apologize. I don't know what was missed, but just to recap, 2.64% CPI. It was allowed on a 2.93% change in CPI. The disposal is 3.8%, and public services piece is 2.3%. And then the tax credit is 0.7% reduction for 5.4. And again, the disposal increase is due to the transfer station. All the Meridian waste goes into the transfer station, and it received a $7 per ton increase, $7.40 with the franchise fee, which is due to Meridian City on that increase. So I'm happy to take questions. I'm not sure where I hate to just keep doubling up. So I think I've said.
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure if my question is for Rodney or for staff perhaps, but my understanding is that the CPI increase is built into the contract, and provided that staff is satisfied with the way it was calculated, then it's somewhat automatic to the contract. Is that true?
Yes, it's part of it is outlined in the contract in section 21 of the contract, and it becomes effective every October 1. So that is contractual, but staff does a really thorough job of making sure that everything rolls through correctly and that it's only applied to the sections that it applies to. For example, it does not apply to disposal. It does not apply to transfer station, nor does it apply to our recycling processing fee or HHW.
Thank you.
Rodney, one thing we missed here, and I'm not sure whether you covered it or not, but if you could cover it again, and that's
Yes.
the recycling service process charge and the increase that's necessary for that.
Yes, so we're requesting 10 cents per household on the recycling processing charge. And the reason for that is because Republic Services continues to sustain losses. Though our loss was less this year, it was $178,499 from the period of July 2019 through June 2020. We use that time frame because that's really when we're looking at rates. Make this request in time for October 1. So we don't follow the fiscal year strictly, but it does cover the 12 months between our analysis. So we're always looking at the same 12 months. Last year, our losses were over 200,000. This year, they're 178,499. And so we've asked for 10 cents more per resident there. So it brings it to $1.03. On the commercial piece of it, it's pretty close. So we left it flat where it is. As far as the processing fee goes with Western, their costs are remaining pretty flat. We do have a lot of volatility in the commodities market right now. We've seen a slight increase or improvement in the market for a few months during the COVID, but that market has started to soften. And our experts tell us that rate is expected, that the market value is expected to continue to decline the longer we go into the year. So the only increase we have for recycling processing is 10 cents, and we'll see where we land next year.
Commissioners, any further questions for Rodney on his presentation?
I guess in line with Commissioner Larson's comment, does staff have anything that stood out or any discussion on how things were calculated? Everything seems to be kind of on track.
In a moment, I'm going to turn it over to staff to speak to the presentation, but just to make sure, are there further questions of Rodney? Okay, thank you, Rodney. I think we're good to move on. At this point, I will go ahead and turn it over to staff. Tom, if you want to take over and give staff's perspective on the rate adjustment so far.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. First of all, I just want to give a big kudos to Rodney, who really did a lot of work when we asked him to change things and show us different scenarios kind of throughout as we were finding things. But staff has, I would say, exhaustively reviewed this with the help of our analyst, Alex Erickson, this last year. Staff has found no issues with the rates that are presented this year. We requested the disposal column be broken out to get a better understanding of the effects of the new rates at the Ada County landfill. Republic was very receptive to doing that. We went with we posited the excise tax rebate back to the ratepayers to stay in. Republic was very receptive to that as well. Staff have gone through every single line item on the rate proposal. There's no voodoo economics in this year. Staff are very happy with the numbers presented, and we feel that they are accurate and represent the best rates to the ratepayers.
Members of the commission, do you have questions of staff on the presentation?
Mr. Chair, just to confirm my understanding, that disposal cost increase from the landfill is contractually, is that sort of a pass-through or an automatic adjustment that gets made if the Ada County landfill increases those costs? There's a mechanism to adjust the rates accordingly. Is that, I know that's kind of a high level look at it, but is that accurate? Or
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Larson, that is 100% correct. The landfill cost is a 100% pass-through cost contractually.
thank you.
I have no further questions, Tom. Thank you.
Commissioner Nelson. Oh, you have no further questions, Commissioner Nelson? Or you do have a question?
I have no further questions. I appreciate his review and staff's input. So you're so good. I have no questions. Tom.
Mr. Chair, I'd be prepared to make a motion to recommend the annual rate adjustment to council as presented to us today by Republic.
And I would second that motion, Mr. Chair.
Right. Yeah. Just a second. So, Tom. I'm getting a little bit of advice from staff on exactly what we need to do. And let me clarify, that'll kind of pass the information back too. So, and we are only talking about the residential portion and the commercial portion. The industrial will be considered at next month's meeting or at a special meeting. Okay. And of course, what Tom was saying in the interim there was, if there was a recommendation, obviously we can pass it on to council for consideration, either with a do pass recommendation, a do not pass recommendation, or no recommendation, but just that it is ready for consideration. Commissioner Larson, I'm not sure if you had a recommendation with your motion.
Indeed, I would correct my motion to say that I would like to recommend to council the annual rate adjustment with a do pass recommendation for the residential customers.
And I didn't record. Commissioner Nelson, did you do the second on that?
I did. And I believe it would be residential and commercial. Is that right?
Correct.
My second stands then.
Is there further comments on the motion? The motion being to pass on to council for consideration the rate adjustments for residential and commercial customers with a do pass recommendation. Is there further comments by commissioners on the motion? Are there further comments? I'm going to say that I believe that the commission is ready for a vote. So all of those who are in favor of moving the rate adjustment to City Council for consideration with a do pass recommendation signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? The motion passes. Thank you. Which I had expected this to take a lot more time. It'll be nice to have a rather short meeting. Next item on the agenda is the next meeting, which is August 26th. We'll keep you informed on things that may be coming up for that meeting. As always, if there are subjects that you want us to go ahead and consider, please go ahead and present those to us, either to Tom or myself, and we'll get them on the agenda. And are there any other announcements or items that should be before the commission at this time? I'll take that as a no, and so I will go ahead and declare this meeting adjourned. It is 4:37. Thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.